You and your partner? So solid. Maybe you bought a house together. Maybe you're planning that wedding. You're expecting your first kid. Are you? Congrats. Oh, so exciting. Well, the big time question, do you join your finances? Do you not? Let's find out, baby. So, you and your partner are very clearly in it to win it, but you've always wondered, are we supposed to join our finances now? Do people even do that anymore? What's the safest way to go about this? And the answer is, well, what do you want to do? Because with YNAB, there's a solid, foolproof way to take basically any approach you and your partner want to your finances without even needing to change your bank loyalty. Today, I'm gonna walk you through 3 different approaches to budgeting with a partner, all using YNAB. First things first, because of the way YNAB works, whether you want to keep your finances separate or share every dollar you ever earn, there is no need to condense your finances down to one shared bank account or even one bank. Your partner could have their checking in Finland, their savings in Sweden, and you could be banking out of a tiny little credit union in Saskatchewan, Nebraska, and you can still share a perfectly smooth joint budget in YNAB. Or not. This is truly a choose your own adventure type of situation. Second things second, before we start exploring the 3 methods, I wanted to make sure you all know about YNAB Together. YNAB Together is a hub of the YNAB app that allows you to share your one YNAB subscription with up to 5 of your loved ones at no extra cost to anyone, whether they've used YNAB before or not. We mostly see YNABers sharing their subscriptions with their partners, but also see parents inviting their teenagers to their YNAB subscriptions or their own parents who they help manage finances for. Each member of your YNAB Together group will get their own separate login and password, and you can share budgets with whoever you do or don't want to. If you want to learn more about YNAB Together, I'll link some more resources on it in the description box down below. So let's dive in. Our first option for budgeting with a partner is maybe the simplest because it has the fewest moving parts. You join up everything. You decide my money is your money, everything we earn is gonna go into one pot, and we're gonna decide together what it's gonna do for us. For this approach, you're gonna have all your bank accounts feed into the same budget, and when paychecks roll in, you're gonna work together to give those dollars their jobs. This is what my husband and I do, and it has worked so well for us. I got to stay at my local credit union that I love. He got to keep his bank, and we don't have to deal with any IOUs or who's responsible for that kind of questions. To give you a peek at what your budget could look like using this method, here you can see I linked my checking, savings, and credit card, and he's also linked his checking, savings, and credit card. Anytime either of us adds a paycheck or some inflow of money, it pops right up into the ready to assign category at the top of our budget. We decided all of our categories together, what our targets would be for each of them, and we're lucky enough to be 2 months ahead in our budget, which makes communicating about money so much easier. Honestly, most of the time when a paycheck rolls in, I'm the one who hops in the budget, clicks ahead to whatever month we're currently funding. Right now it's July, and just fund whatever categories need funding from the top of the budget all the way down to the bottom. If we ever get a unique inflow of money, like a tax refund or a bonus, we'll sit down together, or even sometimes talk about it in the car or on the way to somewhere else, and decide, okay, let's put $500 in travel, $250 toward that pergola we're saving up for, this much toward an extra mortgage payment, yada yada. If we ever go out to eat or take a trip to Target together, it never really matters who pays for the purchase because all our money comes from the same pot. We just record it in the budget and make sure neither one of our checking accounts ever gets too low. The one big tip I would give if you're going to use this fully combined method is to make sure each of you have your own fun money or splurge money type category where you're allowed to spend from it without judgment or question from the other. You don't have to run those purchases by the other at all. I've seen budgets where each partner gets $25 of fun money a month, and I've seen budgets where they get $500 of fun money a month. And I'm sure there are plenty who designate much more money than that, so just decide whatever works for you two. Here you can see my fun money category, which I use for coffee and new clothes and my many plants, and Mac's fun money category, which he usually uses for disc golf discs and that's it, just discs. The second method for budgeting with a partner is keeping all things separate. Separate accounts that fund separate budgets. This is for the couple that doesn't want to commingle their money, but rather run their own budgets with their own bank accounts and share certain expenses outside of the budget. With YNAB Together, you can each create your own budgets that you link only your bank accounts to, and you'll have full control over how you design your own budget, how it looks, how you name your flags or category groups. It's totally yours. But let's say you and your partner split your $2,000 rent right down the middle. You're the one that physically pays the landlord every month, and your partner sends you their half a few days beforehand. In this case, you'll want to create a category for the rent, setting a target for $2,000 because that's what you'll need to pay the landlord. But you're just gonna throw $1,000 of your own money in there every month. Your partner will make their own rent category in their budget, but since they're paying their $1,000 portion to you and not the landlord, they'll set the target on their rent category for just their $1,000 portion. They'll fund it every month and make sure to send that $1,000 your way, however they choose to do that, Venmo, PayPal, cold hard cash. Of course, when they do this, they'll record it as a $1,000 outflow from their budget. Now, when you receive their portion of the rent, you'll record it as a $1,000 inflow, and you can dump it right into your rent category to finish funding your $2,000 target. Now, when you write the $2,000 check for your landlord, you'll record it as a $2,000 outflow from your rent category. And P.S., if you are looking for an app that helps you split your costs with your partner, I made a video on how Splitwise and YNAB can work together. Splitwise is a great app for partners trying to manage money together but separately, so check that out. Now, it's up to you how you split all your other finances. If you're both responsible for buying groceries or you buy your own groceries, but this way your partner doesn't need to be concerned with how much you pay for your car insurance or how much you budget for your makeup or your fantasy football league. My pro tip in this scenario would be to make sure you have clear guidelines established on how you're saving for those less expected but totally inevitable expenses together. If you do own your house together, are you both financially preparing a comparable amount for home emergencies? Like when the pipes burst while you're both at work and your floors are destroyed by the time you get home? If one of you is putting $50 in their vacation fund every month and the other's putting $500 in their vacation fund every month, but you're trying to vacation together, there's a little discrepancy there. Looks to me like one of you is thinking camping while the other's thinking Caribbean. While you don't need to share details of how you spend each penny, make sure you're both on a similar wavelength regarding bigger and especially unexpected expenses you might need to tackle together. And finally, our third method for budgeting together is actually a hybrid of the two methods we already walked through. Some of your accounts are shared and some of your accounts are separate. This is the couple that has the yours, mine, and ours vibe going on. Maybe you both pour a portion of your paycheck each month into a shared bank account that you use communally to pay for the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and the dog, but you keep the remainder of your paychecks in your own separate bank accounts where you do your fun spending, take care of your own cars, and don't need the other's input on how that money is spent. In this scenario, you'll each have your own individual budgets that you'll link your personal bank accounts to, and you'll create a third shared budget that you'll link your shared bank account to. Now you can keep all your personal spending private and separate while having full communication and transparency with all of your shared spending in the shared budget. Now, one thing to be aware of with this method, you'll each have two budgets you need to keep track of, and because of this, it may require you to move money between the two budgets quite a bit, which isn't bad, it's just annoying. Also, in order to have a shared bank account, one of you will have to join the other's bank, at least for the shared account, or you could both find a new bank together to start your shared bank account with, whatever. However, this method provides a lot of clarity on who pays for what. It's very clear and defined which expenses are personal and which expenses are expected to be fully shared. If the fridge poops out, you know you're gonna both be replacing it together with your shared bank account. But if you two go out to eat, one of you can feel totally guilt-free getting the artisan lobster dish with wine, while the other can save their money by ordering a side salad with fries and water. Different strokes for different folks, but together. It's charming, really. Now, there's also a second variation of this third method where you both have your own individual bank accounts in addition to your shared account, but you can feed all of them into one budget instead of maintaining both a personal and a shared budget. Here you can create a category group for all your shared expenses: the rent, the utilities, the groceries, the dog, maybe the odd vacation or two. But you can also create one category group for each of the partner's individual expenses. So Connor may fill up their category group with a gym membership, a coffee category, categories for their car, and one for the new laptop they're saving up for, while Jordan may fill their category group up with categories for new clothes, one for concerts and outings, another for her own car expenses, and one for grad school. Connor will only use the money from his bank account to fund his Connor category group, and Jordan will only use the money from her bank account to fund her Jordan category group. They'll use the money from their shared bank account to fund all their shared expenses. Yeah, you're keeping it. You got it. You're tracking. People love that this method doesn't require any hopping back and forth from budget to budget, and you could easily record a transfer of money from a personal account to the shared account without having to totally switch budget gears. That being said, the reason some may choose to not go this route is because of the high level of financial transparency there is. Connor can see all the ways Jordan spends her money, and Jordan can easily see all the ways Connor's spending his money. It can also be easier to accidentally move someone's money to the wrong place or without the other person knowing it. So if you do choose this method, I would recommend a holding category in each of your personal category groups that you initially drop your paychecks into and then disperse the money out to all your different personal categories from there to prevent money lingering in or getting mixed up in the ready to assign category. But those are the options. I love that YNAB makes it so easy to achieve whatever level of transparency or cohesiveness you want, totally dependent on your own values and comfort levels without either partner even needing to consider transferring banks. And while we're on the topic of financial communication, here's a list of a few questions we'd recommend you and your partner think through no matter which method you choose. First, when you receive new income, will one partner be responsible for initially budgeting that money, or will you sit down to do it together? My husband and I always thought we'd do it together, but when we realized our main goal was just to budget further and further into the future, we recognized this was something I could easily do without him, especially since I'm obsessed with the budget and actually greatly enjoy doing it. Secondly, if you overspend and need to reprioritize with Rule 3, will one of you make those decisions? Or will you predetermine which of your categories are going to take a backseat when overspending happens so that one of you can handle the overspending without needing to consult the other? And lastly, who's going to take care of the nuts and bolts of the budget? Things like coordinating your bill payments through your bank and reconciling your accounts to make sure that your data is always accurate. You don't necessarily need to carry equal responsibilities when it comes to budget maintenance, as long as it's established who's in charge of doing what and that they're okay with taking on those roles. But hey, in the end, that's truly what it always comes down to. Communication. There aren't many better ways to show your partner you love them and care for them than making sure you're both on the same page, ensuring the other feels valued and appreciated for their roles and contributions, and creating room for safe conversations. So, now I'm curious, how do you and your partner handle your finances? What have been your biggest wins or your greatest grievances? Chances are there's someone else out there that could really benefit from hearing your victories and someone who's ready and willing to help or bring comfort or validation to some of your frustrations. You just never know, so share down below. Honestly, flattered that you spent so much time with me today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. I'm so hype. Love teaching people budget. If only you could see my shoes perfectly match my shirt. It's hard to do. Our first option with, okay. I don't know if I go to my British accent when I feel insecure or when I feel really confident. The world may never know. That grammatically did not make a lick of sense. That was perfect. Good job, me.